Oops.
Waiters always look at me and think that I'm going to have a little salad, maybe a soup, and that'll be the whole meal. And when I do my actual
Chapter 15. The Yoga of the Supreme Person. Text 1. Shri Bhagavatam Yuvaka Yurdava Mulam Adha Sakam Asvatam Har Hyor Ava Ayam Chandamasi Yasya Parnini Yastam Veda Sa Veda Vit. The Blessed Lord said, there is a banyan tree which has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Veda hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. After the discussion of the importance of bhakti yoga, one may question, what about the Vedas? It is explained in this chapter that the purpose of the Vedic study is to understand Krishna. Therefore, one who is Krishna consciousness, who is engaged in devotional service, already knows the Vedas. The entanglement of this material world is compared here to the banyan tree. For one who is engaged in the fruitive activities, there is no end to the banyan tree. He wanders from branch to another, to another, to another. The tree of this material world has no end. And for one who is attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation. The Vedic hymns meant for elevating oneself are called the leaves of this tree. This tree's root goes upward because they begin from the Brahram, where the Brahram is located, the topmost planet of this universe. If one can understand this indestructible tree of illusion, then one can get out of it. This process of extriction should be understood. In the previous chapters, it has been explained that there are many processes by which to get out of material entanglement. And up to chapter 13, we have seen that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the best way. Now, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment from material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. The process of breaking attachment of the material world is discussed in the beginning of this chapter. The root of this material existence grows upward. This means that it begins from total material substance, from the topmost planet of the universe. From there, the whole universe is expanded, with so many branches representing the various planetary systems. The fruits represent the results of living entities' activities, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Now there is no ready experience in the world of the tree situated with its branches down and its roots upward. But there is such a thing. That tree can be found beside the reservoir of water. We can see that the trees on the bank of upon the water with the branches down and roots up. In other words, the tree of this material world is only reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire, just as the tree's reflection is situated on water. Desire is the cause of things being situated in the reflective material light. One who wants to get out of this material existence must know this tree thoroughly through analytical study. Then he can cut off relationship with it. This tree, being the reflection of the real tree, is an exact replica. Everything is there in the spiritual world. The impersonalists take Brahma to be the root of this material tree, and from the root, according to the Sankhya philosophy, some prakriti, purusa, then the three gunas. There are five gross elements: panka, mahabhuta, then the 10 senses, das, andriya, mind, etc., is the way to divide up the whole material world. If Brahma is the center of all manifestations, then this material world is the manifestation of the center of 180 degrees, and the other 180 degrees constitute the spiritual world. The material world is the perverted reflection, so the spiritual world must have the variegatedness, but in reality. The prakriti is the external energy of the Supreme Lord, and the Purusa is the Supreme Lord himself, and it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Since this manifestation is material, it is temporary. A reflection is temporary, for it is sometimes seen and sometimes not seen. But the origin from whence the reflection is reflected in is eternal. The material reflection of the real tree has to be cut off. When it is said that a person knows the Vedas, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off attachment to his material world. If one knows that process, he actually knows the Vedas. One who is attracted by ritualistic formulas of the Vedas is attracted by the beautiful green leaves of the tree. He does not exactly know the purpose of the Vedas. The purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the personality of Godhead itself, is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree of the spiritual world. Text 2. Ahas cord havam pras tas tacha sakha guna parvardaha vishasha prabala ahas ka mulani anusamtatani karma mubatini mayusha loki. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are objects of senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to be fruited actions of human society. The description of the banyan tree is further explained here. The branches are spread in all directions. In the lower parts, they are variegated manifestations of living entities, such as human beings, animals, horses, cows, dogs, cats, etc. These are situated on the lower parts of the branches, whereas on the upper parts are higher forms of the living entities, the demigods, Gadharvasa fairies, and the other higher species of life. As the tree is nourished by water, so this tree is nourished by the three modes of material nature. Sometimes we find that a tract of land is barren for want of sufficient water, and sometimes a tract is very green. Similarly, where the modes of material nature are proportionately greater in quantity, the different species of life are manifested in that portion. The twigs of the tree are considered to be the sense objects. By development of different modes of nature, we develop different senses. And by senses, we enjoy different varieties of some sense objects. The source of the senses of the ears, the nose, the eyes, etc., is considered to be the upper twigs, tuned to the enjoyment of different sense objects. The leaves are sound, form, touch the sense objects. The roots, which are subsidiary are the byproducts of different varieties of suffering and sense enjoyment. Thus, we develop attachment and aversion. The tendencies toward piety and impiety are considered to be secondary roots, spreading in all directions. The real root is from the Brahma Loka, and the other roots are in the human planetary systems. After one enjoys the results of the virtuous activities in the upper planetary systems, he comes down to this earth and renews his karma of fruitive activities for promotion. This planet of human beings is considered the field of activities. Text 3 to 4. Non rupam ayeha tato palapahate nanto na sadir na ka sampartishta asfataham enam suveryudaha mulam asanga satrinina dridhina shitpa tata padam tat par inarbigitayam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuya tam eva sadyam purusam pardadi yata parvertit parshtra purani. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, and where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So doing, one must seek that place from which, having once gone, one never returns, and there surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything has begun, and in whom everything is abiding, since time is immemorable. It is now clearly stated that the real form of this banyan tree cannot be understood in this material world. Since the root is upwards, the extension of the real tree is at the other end. No one can see how far the tree extends, nor can one see the beginning of this tree. Yet has to find out the cause. I am the son of my father. My father is the son of such and such a person, etc. By searching in this way, one comes to Brahman, who is generated by the Garpodakasasi Vishnu. Finally, in that way, when one reaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the end of the research work. One has to search out the origin of the tree, the personality of Godhead, through the associations of persons who are in the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, by understanding, one becomes gradually detached from his false reflection of reality. And by the knowledge, one can cut off the connection and actually become situated in a real tree. The word ashanga is very important in this connection because the attachment from the sense enjoyment and the lording is over the material nature is very strong. Therefore, one must learn detachment by discussion of spiritual science based on authoritative scriptures, and one must hear from the persons who are actually in knowledge. As a result of such discussion and association of devotees, one comes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the first thing one must do is surrender to Him. The description of that place whence going no one returns to his false reflected tree is given here. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original root from whom everything has emanated. To gain favor of the personality of Godhead, one has only to surrender. And this is the result of performing devotional service by hearing, chanting, etc. He is the cause of extension of the material world. This is already explained by the Lord Himself. Anam sarvashya pradhava. I am the origin of everything. Therefore, to get out of entanglement of the strong banyan tree of material life, one must surrender to Krishna. As soon as one surrenders onto Krishna, he becomes detached automatically from his material existence. Text 5. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha ahai atmam nitya bin ruta kama davan der bin yukta sukha dukkha samjinar gachanti ahumdha padam ayayam tat. One who is free from illusion, false prestige, and false association, who understands the eternal, who is done with material lust and is freed from the duality of happiness and distress, and who knows how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, obtains to the eternal kingdom. The surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride. Because the conditional soul is puffed up, thinking himself the Lord of material nature, it is very difficult for him to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by the cultivation of the real world that he is not Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here, stays for a brief time, and then goes away, he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. Excuse me. He thus makes all things complicated, and he is always in trouble. The whole world moves under his impression. People are considering that the lands, this earth, belongs to the human society, and they have divided the land under false impression that they are the proprietaries. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of the world. When one is freed from such false notion, he becomes freed from all false association caused by familial, social, and national affections. These fake associations bind one to his material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is actually not his own. And one has an understanding of things as they are. He becomes free from all dual conceptions such as happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes in full knowledge that then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, stopping at text 6. I think Pam popped off.
I think you're right.
Hi.
Hi. Good morning. How you doing, Izzy? Waking up.
Let me see if Sprinkles is around to say hello.
Oh, that would be nice.
Sprinkles, are you here? She went outside for her morning walk.
Okay. Your thought?
Yes, one of my neighborhood cats, if I look this way, I can see the neighborhood cat curled up on the cushion of the chaise lounge. I'm so happy I could provide a really nice bed for him.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yep.
We have a cat in heat outside of our house who yells all night long.
Oh my goodness.
We don't know where she is though, but we hear her.
Oh my gosh. Poor thing.
Is it her
Yeah.
or is it a Tom?
I don't know. Did the Toms wail too?
Yeah,
And they all wail for each other?
I
Could
think
be either.
so. Well, I always assume that males have less control, so maybe this is an assumption on my part.
Aw.
Well,
So that was a nice reading. I always like the banyan tree example.
Yeah.
And they're getting into all the Sankhya philosophy stuff, which is cool.
they're getting into all which philosophy stuff?
Sankhya philosophy, which we've talked about, and like all the other books kind of touch upon it in different lenses. I feel like we've hit every different lens of like exploring this concept of as above, so below.
Mhm.
Like the sutras made it very practical. Hatha Yoga Pradipika was like, here's how you control your body within it. And then this one's like, they talk about the personality of Godhead in relation to it, which is, it's interesting.
Yep.
It just gives it gives context, like in a more, if I read that first and I didn't read the other books first or understand it from that lens, I'd kind of be like, it's harder to for my mind, I guess, to understand in that capacity. It feels more distant, the spiritual world.
I thought, one thing that kind of resonated was the statement that humans don't own the world. Stop pretending you own the world.
Yeah.
Which is a message that you hear all the time now. Not that anybody's listening, but it is a message that you hear all the time.
Yeah, if only they listened. Yeah, that humility is really important.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the Native Americans lived, right? They recognized all the gifts and they wanted to preserve and give back.
Exactly.
Any other thoughts? You ladies want to meditate?
I'm ready to meditate.
Me too. I'm up
Okay.
for meditating.
All right, so you just start with alternate nostril breathing. And you could take your right hand and bring your thumb to your right nostril. Inhale through the left side. Close up both. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close up both. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close up both. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close up both. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close up both. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close up both. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close off both. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, close off both, exhale through the left. Some breath of fire. So we'll just pull the belly in. Inhale all the way and exhale all the way out. Inhale halfway, and then we'll just pump the diaphragm. Inhale all the way. Retain the breath. Squeeze the pelvic floor, pull the belly in, tuck the chin, turn the eyes up. Release the chin, release the belly, release the root, and exhale. You want to continue like that for a few cycles, you can. You can move into your meditation. I'll set the timer. Bring the hands to prayer, bowing the head. Namaste. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you for reading, Dominica.
No problem. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a good day. Thank you very much.
You too. Bye-bye.